The morning sun rose over the dusty plains, spreading a golden hue across the sprawling town of Silver Creek. The day was unlike any other, the day when the wealthiest bachelors from across 3 counties arrived, each dressed in their finest, each carrying hopes higher than the sky itself. The occasion: a husband selection ceremony, something of a spectacle that had the whole town buzzing for weeks. 13 wealthy men, owners of vast lands, cattle empires, and businesses, stood side by side in the large open courtyard, each trying to outshine the other. Their boots polished, coats pressed, and hats tipped just right, they stood like peacocks in a parade, ready to claim the heart of the one woman everyone talked about, the mysterious beauty who had inherited her father's vast estate. The crowd gathered early. Townsfolk filled every corner, eager to witness the grand event. There was gossip and laughter, whispers and wagers about who would be chosen. Most bet on the banker's son, young, charming, and the richest man in the region. Others said it would surely be the railroad heir, whose father had built half the town. But a few, the quieter ones, spoke differently. They said she wasn't the type to be dazzled by gold or titles. They said she had the kind of heart that beat to a rhythm no money could match. The mayor stepped forward, clearing his throat as he announced the beginning of the ceremony. The wealthy men adjusted their ties and straightened their backs, each one smiling with a confidence born of privilege. Behind them stood their gifts, boxes of jewels, golden watches, carriages, and even promises of mansions. Each tried to buy her heart with grand gestures, each certain that wealth could win what love could not. Then, from the far end of the square, she appeared. The crowd turned silent as her figure came into view. Dressed in simple white, her hair tied loosely, she carried herself with a grace that didn't need jewels or silk. There was something unshakable about her. Calmness, something that made the proudest men suddenly unsure of themselves. She didn't rush, didn't smile too brightly, didn't look impressed by the parade before her. Instead, she walked slowly past each man, her eyes searching, not for riches, but for something deeper. The first man stepped forward, bowing deeply. "I can offer you a life of comfort, luxury, and power," he said, his voice dripping with confidence. She nodded politely but moved on. The next man, more handsome than most, smiled and presented a diamond necklace that caught the sunlight like fire. Still, she only thanked him softly and kept walking. One by one, she passed them all, each one offering something glittering. Each one left standing, uncertain, rejected. Murmurs rippled through the crowd as she continued past the line of suitors. 13 men, 13 fortunes, and not one caught her attention. The mayor exchanged worried glances with the onlookers. "Perhaps she's not ready," someone whispered. "Maybe she changed her mind," another muttered. But she wasn't done. Her steps carried her beyond the line of fine suits and polished boots. Across the courtyard, where the dust hung low and the air smelled of horses and leather. There, leaning casually against the rail of his horse, stood a man no one had noticed before. His hat was old and worn, his shirt faded from the sun, his boots scuffed by years of hard work. A cowboy. The townsfolk gasped as she walked toward him. The wealthy men looked on in disbelief. The cowboy lifted his head slightly, surprised that she was even coming his way. His eyes, steady and honest, met hers, and for a moment, the world seemed to still. There were no words between them, just a silent understanding that spoke louder than any promise of gold. "You," she said softly, her voice steady. "I choose you." The crowd erupted in shock. The mayor nearly dropped his papers. "But, he's not on the list," he stammered. The cowboy blinked, as if unsure she was serious. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "I ain't got much to offer. No land worth bragging about, no name that'll turn heads." She smiled, a small, knowing smile. "You've got something they don't," she replied. "You've got a heart that's real." A hush fell again, deeper this time. The cowboy hesitated, then slowly reached out his hand. She took it, firm and fearless, her eyes shining like dawn breaking over the prairie. The onlookers didn't know whether to cheer or question their own lives. The 13 wealthy men stood frozen. Their pride wounded, their wealth suddenly meaningless. In that instant, every man, woman, and child understood something rare and beautiful: love could not be bought, only found. The cowboy helped her onto his horse, and together they rode away from the murmuring crowd, the wind catching her white dress as they disappeared into the horizon. People watched in awe, realizing they'd witnessed something extraordinary: a woman who had the courage to walk past everything the world called valuable, to choose what truly mattered. Back in town, the whispers never stopped. Some called her foolish, others called her brave. But those who saw the truth in her eyes knew better. They knew she had chosen not wealth, but freedom; not luxury, but love. Weeks later, stories spread of the two, working side by side on a small ranch just outside Silver Creek. They said she laughed more now, that her eyes sparkled when he looked at her. They built their home with their own hands, planting wildflowers around it, living simply, joyfully. The wealthy men who once stood in line could never understand how peace, love, and loyalty could outshine every diamond in their possession. And maybe that's what makes the story live on, the reminder that in a world obsessed with gold and grandeur, the truest treasure is often found in the calloused hands of someone who loves you for who you are, not what you own. Far from the noise of Silver Creek, the couple built a humble ranch with their own hands. Dawn found them side by side, he mending fences, she feeding horses, both laughing more than they ever had before. The world that once judged them slowly forgot, but they didn't care. Their love grew stronger with each sunset, proving happiness wasn't born from riches but from peace shared in quiet moments. At night, they'd sit on the porch, her head on his shoulder, stars reflecting in her eyes. "Do you ever miss the life you left?" he asked once. She smiled. "I never had a life until I chose you." And in that silence, broken only by the whispering wind, they knew what they'd built together was worth more than all the gold she'd walked away from years past. And their ranch thrived, not from wealth, but from love and hard work. Neighbors came to respect them, saying their laughter was worth more than any gold. One evening, as the sun set in fire-red skies, he took her hand and whispered, "We may not have much, but we have everything." She smiled, tears shining, because we chose love over luxury. And together, they watched the horizon, richer than anyone had ever been.